Motorcycles. I love motorcycles, but when I was a kid, what I really wanted was a pocket bike. Yeah, the Razor Pocket Rocket. Now that's what I'm talking about. What could be better than a miniature sport bike perfectly sized for a kid with no license required? Well, to my parents, apparently a lot of stuff because they wouldn't let me have one. But I'm an adult now, so I got my own. And I gotta tell you, it is one heck of a letdown. Oh my gosh. I mean, it still looks just as cool as I remember, but it barely goes 12 miles an hour and it's built like a toy. Now that I've ridden real motorcycles, what I want is a superbike in a pocket bike sized package. The ultimate sleeper. A real machine that just looks like it's a toy. And since nobody sells one of those, I'm gonna have to make it myself. So here's my wish list for the Pocket Superbike. Number 1, it has to be crazy fast. Superbikes are heavily modified production motorcycles, so I think mine has to be capable of at least highway speeds, making it the fastest on YouTube probably around 55 miles an hour. Number 2, it's gotta look like the Razor. The Pocket Rocket color scheme, body styling, and decals are what I fell in love with, so no matter what else I do, it's gotta have that classic look. And number 3, it needs to be fun at any speed. I know it just said it has to be fast, but it doesn't need to be a dragster. It's just a quick bike. If I can't ride it at 20 miles an hour and have a good time, I'm never gonna ride it around the neighborhood and, well, that kind of defeats the point. With those goals in mind, my first idea was to swap a bigger motor into the Razor I already had, but I realized pretty quickly it'd be a terrible idea. The tiny 250-watt motor fits in this microscopic space in the back of the frame, which means it's impossible to drop in a bigger one, and even if I cut and re-weld it to fit a larger motor, there's still no way to fix the crappy brakes. What I really cared about was the size, so my next idea was to look for a different pocket bike that could handle the power upgrades and customize the heck out of it to match the Razor. I poked around Facebook and I bought this clapped out Mototech for about 300 bucks. It's barely any bigger, but it has dual disc brakes, a roomier motor mount, and out of the box, it's technically already twice as powerful, which meant the first question I had was, how fast can this thing actually go? All right, I've got this thing, we're all charged up. All right, you know what, I'll tell you what, it's fun. It's a lot of fun to ride, but so far we got like 8, 9, maybe 10 miles an hour. Really struggles uphill. 11 miles an hour uphill versus like 14 or 15. And I mean, this is barely any grade, so there's really not a lot of power in that motor. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you guys. This thing is a lot of fun to ride. The brakes work well enough, might need to improve those. But the bigger story here is, yeah, it's just not fast. This thing needs a lot more power. I think we gotta take it back to the shop and really suit this thing up. Okay, so this guy needs a motor. And this is where we're gonna get it. This Barbie Jeep was a project I axed over a year ago, and the motor's nothing special. It's just a cheap motor called an MY1020. But while it's the same physical size as the one that comes in the pocket bike, it can output 6 times the power. Yes! Okay, so before I take everything out, I'm gonna give you a quick rundown on how this works. Basically, speed controller here, battery here. This tells the motor how fast to go. This supplies the motor with power. Here's this. This is the electric motor. The electric motor runs to the rear sprocket. Then there's a battery charger that some guy zip tied in the back here. Everything that I just explained is all of the same stuff. It's right here. So then we're gonna swap this out and all of the stuff that's in here. Yeah, that's all locked down, not moving anywhere. You know, honestly, if you're gonna build something, if you can find something like this, like some kind of a rolling chassis, this part that I'm doing right here where you have to resize the chain and put this on, that's easy. I mean, if we're gonna make this go 60, there are gonna be some further modifications required. But, you know, in any event, the fastest I've seen on the internet is about 42 miles an hour on a slight downhill. So I think a solid 10 to 20 over that is pretty super. The old motor ran on 36 volt electricity, but the new motor runs at 72 volts, which means I need a new battery too. So I bought a set of 4 18 volt lithium batteries on Amazon and daisy chained them together. All right, so coming out of here, green, black, red, yellow, blue, purple, brown, white. All right, so far so good. Technically that's everything plugged in, so hopefully if I turn this on, that's what I'm talking about. Wow, is that thing fast. Okay, I think we ought to take it for a test drive and just see how it goes and see how it really feels. Okay, I've got the new build of the pocket bike out. I'm hoping we get at least 25 out of this. Oh, this is already better. All right, we got 5.7, 9.8. All right, so in mode 1, 17.8, 18 miles an hour. Wow, and that's in the low power mode. I am terrified for when we turn it up to the top. But this is already a lot more fun than it was before. I really like this. Let's see what we can do. Go in the other direction. And let's flick it into power mode 2 out of 3. Wow, it's already doing like 30. Honestly, I'm surprised how good this feels at 30. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't expecting that. That's exciting. All right, let's try turning around. Definitely needs a different throttle. Don't love the way the throttle response is on this guy. All right, let's check out this top speed run here, shall we? Okay, there we go, that's top. All right, about 36 or 37 miles an hour, which is pretty dang fast. 35 miles an hour is really impressive on this bike, and the whole build is super affordable at 800 bucks. But the throttle feels twitchy, the bike still looks terrible, and to be a super bike, I really think it needs to be faster. So I went to Electro & Co to look for a motor with even more power that's still small enough to fit this frame. I checked out a lot of options before settling on this 11,000 watt Razor kit. It comes with the one electric motor, which is twice as powerful as my current one, and the Noisy Cricket controller, which should have more than enough power to get this bike past 55. I'll still have to figure out how to mount it, but the price is right, so I put it in order and went back to... Ooh. Man, maybe it's finally time to replace this crappy office chair. I mean, I sit on it for 4 or 5 hours a day, the armrests suck, and it always leaves me sore, but where could I... Upgrading your office chair is kind of like cleaning out your closet. You don't see how bad it is right now, mostly because you don't realize how much better it could be. I thought my chair was okay until FlexiSpot sent me the C7 Max, and this was my genuine reaction. Oh man, that's good. You can sit in basically any position, and every part can be adjusted to fit you perfectly. The 3D adjustable headrest can be moved up and down and tilted for maximum comfort. The whole backrest adjusts to give you ideal lower and upper back support. The cushion is the perfect softness, and you can slide the seat depth to your liking. I'm extra impressed by the 5D armrests because I keep my keyboard pretty far away and normal armrests bump into the desk. But now I can get close enough to type and still be comfortable. Normally a desk chair of this quality would cost over 500 bucks even used, but right now during FlexiSpot's brand day sale, they're having up to 60% off their whole site. And if you use my link and code C750, you'll get this exact chair for just 400 bucks. It doesn't get cheaper than that. They have a 30-day return policy so you can try it risk-free. Every C7 series chair comes with a 10-year warranty. And if this one doesn't fit your budget, the C5 has the same build quality with fewer features at half the price. So kick your old chair to the curb. Get an ergonomic chair from FlexiSpot with my code and invest in your future health while also supporting my channel. It'll be at least a week before the new parts show up, but that's fine because I still have a lot left to do. The goal for this project is obviously to make this look as much like this as possible, but there's a lot of work to do before we're there. To get there, I'll need to totally reshape the body, fix the windshield, reshape the plastics and the frame, duplicate the Razor graphics to make a custom decal, and install the new Electro & Co motor. The plan is to start by disassembling absolutely everything to get this bike down to its bare components, and there are a lot of pieces, so I made a giant parts tray to keep track of them. Good God, this is one of the crustiest bolts I've ever had to remove. Fuck yeah. Suck it, Mototech. And once everything was disassembled, it was time to fix the bodywork. I found this ABS plastic sheeting, and I think, at least if we do 2 of them, we should be able to cover this. ABS is great because it bends easily when heat is applied, but it can be tricky because normal glues won't work. Instead, you have to use a special ABS cement that dissolves the plastic, melting the sheets to the body, creating a chemical bond. I'm gonna let it dry in this orientation because I think it'll help preserve the natural curve of the plastic a little better. But that could also be just total overkill, so. My old friend Tria would have said, it's definitely not underkill. All right, so here's some good news. This worked well last night. I didn't have time to finish the rest of these yesterday, but that's okay. So I got custom designs for decals to put on the sides of this thing to make it look just like the Razor when it's finished. I have some samples and I wanna see if they fit. If it doesn't, then I can probably just adjust the dimensions a little. All right, if this fits, amazing. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board. Oh no, this doesn't even look close. Okay, no, it's almost just the right size, but it's ever so slightly small. So I think if I make it just a little longer / bigger, I can cheat some of it to either side. Maybe I just ask him like, hey dude, can you extend the design off? But either way, I can't get this printed in this state. And since he needed some time to do revisions, now that the ABS cement was dry, it gave me the time to finish up the side panels. Basically, I wanna make sure that I can actually sand this down and get a good end result, because if I can't, I think I need to try something different for the other side. There's a seam on the edge of the patches I added, so to make this look factory, I'm gonna sand them down before using a little extra ABS slurry to smooth everything out. Okay, this body panel does not look perfect, but it's done, and I think that's gonna look good enough once it's on the side of the pocket bike. In the meantime, I need to do it all over again. And while I spent my time working on the body, Fiverr Guy was making my changes. All right, so yesterday I spent a lot of my time working on getting the graphics to fit right. I took the design that I got from the guy on Fiverr. This one I extended 10% and that fit, but it was a little bit over. So instead I adjusted the size to 105%. And that is more or less gonna be the graphic. In the meantime though, these panels are more or less done. I mean, I think I can give them a little bit more work, but those are pretty much finished. This panel is not finished. So the plan is I'm gonna finish this guy up, and then while this is setting up and everything, I can keep primering all of the other pieces of this build. These side panels aren't perfect, but I think they're good enough for the prime time. Okay, I think these bad boys look pretty darn good. So I'm just gonna let these dry here for a second, and that way tomorrow we can paint all the pieces. The body was looking really good, but I still had the frame to take care of. So while letting the primer dry, I started taking it apart. I wanna get the front of this off, and I wanna get everything dismounted so I can at least put primer on this. Let's start disassembling. To match the look of the Razor, the frame needs to be silver, which means anything not welded down needs to come off to prepare it for paint. It's also a good opportunity to remove surface rust and fix any mechanical issues I find. You know, I don't know how I didn't realize it, but we're there. It's stripped. Or at least it's stripped enough to paint the frame. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna clean the frame. It's a little dark outside, so I'm just gonna grab a hose and we're gonna hose this guy off as best I can. Then I'm gonna let it dry. We're gonna work on this frame finally. I'm very excited. We gotta get this thing all clean, and then today, I'm gonna apply the primer. Okay, it's frame time. I'm using a wire wheel to get the old paint off, then in the spots the grinder couldn't reach, I scuffed the surface with sandpaper to help the primer stick. Okay, so is the frame perfect? No, absolutely not. Is it good enough? I think yes. After that, I blew off the dust, hung the frame from the ceiling, laid down a coat of primer, and started to paint when I got my first glimpse of the brand new frame. That looks really freaking good. The only part of the frame I couldn't paint was the forks, which was a bummer because they had a bunch of surface rust. While I'm letting the frame dry, I'm gonna try and see if I can do something about the rust on this chrome here. I mean, it's basically like new. That's crazy. Okay, so with those all squared away, and with the frame now fully dry, we're finally ready to start reassembling some parts of this thing, which is extremely exciting to me. I've been waiting for this moment quite a while on this project, so I'm stoked it's finally here. And we gotta reinstall that VIN plate too. Putting everything back together was pretty easy except for the brakes. Lining up the rotors took a lot of tuning, but once they were both spinning freely, it was time to finish painting the body so I could apply the decals. Okay, so the custom graphics I had ordered got here for the bike. Very excited to put them on, but first I just want to cut them out of the sheet so that I can get everything lined up. And that'll still, yes. Okay, these should fit. I think that's gonna look really, really good. Okay, so the upshot is basically I need to get this on here and line it up with this edge relatively well. All right, that was not perfect, but it was pretty good. And I think it'll get us to what I was hoping for. All right, well, the transfer ripped there. There's nothing I could really do about that. Don't let anyone lie to you. This is the hardest part of doing vinyl transfers, is getting the transfer to occur. Wow, so not perfect, but pretty good. I'll be honest, I'm pretty impressed with that. I think that looks really good. That's not bad, that's pretty clean. And that left just one piece of the body to finish, the windshield. This is the only piece of this bike at this point that doesn't look, I'm gonna call it showroom, but I don't like the way it looks. Originally, I wanted to make the windshield clear again, so I tried a headlight polishing kit, but it didn't really work that well. Since we couldn't get this perfectly clear, it looks pretty good now. I think we're gonna tint it gray to make it look really slick. I've never used this kind of tint film before, so I really don't know how well it's gonna work. So isopropyl alcohol, then measure the size, cut the vinyl. Okay, so basically cut it a little bit big, apply it, trim the final. Wow, this is not like going on. Let me grab the heat gun. Oh, that makes a huge difference. All right, I'll tell you what, is it 100% perfect? No. Is it pretty freaking clean? Yeah, dude. That looks awesome. Now that the body was done, it was almost time to put everything together. While I'd been working on the rest of this bike, the power upgrades from Electro & Co. had made their way from California to Colorado. And to make the motor fit, I'd designed a custom mount. This package from sendcutsend, they hooked it up with a little bit of fast processing time on this to get me this part very, very quickly. This, right here, cut and bend files for this. A custom motor mount adapter plate for that pocket bike for, wait for it, what I got in this box from Electro & Co., who make the craziest razor motors on the planet, period. I mean, these things are obscene. Oh, sick, they send stickers too. Yeah, dude, this is just somebody at the, I don't know who this guy is, Josh. Keep calm and shred on. Thank you, Josh. This powertrain swap is what's taking us from regular bike to superbike. The one is rated for 5,000 watts, 10 times more power than the original motor, and the Noisy Cricket controller that came with the kit can push more current than I'll ever need. If this doesn't make my bike super, nothing will. So we're gonna take this motor out, we're gonna take the old controller out, we're gonna take all the old stuff off of this, and we're gonna put in this new guy. I started by pulling the old motor out of the bike to install the new mount. I was a little nervous about whether it would fit. All right, so that mounts up like there, which is fine, but it could be a little bit too far forward. Oh, no, I think that honestly looks great. This mount is, I think, gonna work better than I expected. This is very exciting. Oh my God, I'm so stoked. I screwed the motor into the mount and then bolted the mount to the base plate. And now we have to shorten the chain. But this is good, this is great progress. Now that we've got the motor installed, now that we've got the chain hooked up, I'm gonna slap in the TrueMoto controller from Electro & Co. I think this is gonna fit pretty perfectly, yeah. It can fit perfectly right in here. I'm gonna run the electrical cables over the top through the battery thing. One great thing about Electro & Co. parts is they have unique connectors, so you literally can't plug them in wrong. Okay, so this clicks into there. That's elite. I'm gonna install this guy into this. Nice. Very secure. This is nice. And then I had to connect the motor wires. Looking at green. G for green. There's blue. And we're cooking. All right, I'm gonna connect some battery leads here. I made a set of leads to connect the battery. Okay, here we go. Eeny, meeny, miny. Crimp. Black goes to negative, red goes to positive. So black to negative, and then I'll tuck the connector away like over here, but red is gonna go right there. All right, and then just for testing purposes, we got the old on-off switch and the existing voltage readout. And once I tightened down the terminals, I connected the power switch and hooked up the daisy-chained lipos. Gotta plug in some batteries and then we can link everything together. All right, I'm rolling on the GoPro now. Let's give it a rip. Wow, right off the gate, it rides great. That's awesome. All right, are the batteries puffing? Are they getting hot or anything? No, 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 no. Good. Let's set it to the top power mode, shall we? Whoa, holy cow. This also just feels way better than the old motor in tune. Like, this is awesome. Holy moly. With the new motor swapped in, my Pocket Superbike was finally ready for prime time. So I screwed the lid back on, replaced the old crappy grips with new red ones to match the bike, and put my custom plastics on the side so I could take it out and see how it stacks up. I want to drag race the original Pocket Bike versus my Pocket Bike.
3, 2, 1, go! No! He's gone! He's just gone!
So obviously it beats the old bike by a mile, but does it really deserve the Superbike title? Well, I've been riding this thing all over town, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty frickin' sweet. The plastics make it a little hard to steer below 5 miles an hour, but that's not much of an issue when you're almost always going 20 plus. And for a bike without hydraulic brakes, it honestly stops pretty well. It's got the power for wheelies once I learned to do one, and it even feels great when you take it on the track. I got it up to 55 in this straightaway, and it definitely has more to give, but as my friend showed me, speed on the track is really about cornering, and that's where sheer power doesn't help.
Dude, this is lit!
It's sick to have a bike that's really worthy of the track, but I still wasn't sure if it'd get me chewed out by Karens at the park, and I'm happy to report it still flies under the radar. As long as you keep the speed under about 20 miles an hour, most people definitely still think it's a toy, so that's another W for my list of goals, and it even manages to ride off-road.
Alright, it's not exactly for off-roading, but it seems like it's holding its own.
Of course, that's when I ran into a few kids on Surons, and they wanted to see it rip, so we hit the street to do a few pulls. Being this low to the ground, it feels like you're going twice as fast as you are, which makes it fun at any speed, and the bike looks insanely sick on the street. It'll easily beat a Suron in a drag race, and if you've got the spare cash for some slide pads, there's not a single bike that makes it easier to drag a knee. It's hard to say the bike is perfect, but it's definitely super. It's faster than Sonic on a Coke bender, more fun than a barrel of monkeys, and it looks even better than the Razor original. I'll put the full parts list plus my Electro&Co discount code in the description, and as always, I read all my comments, so if you want more projects like this one, be sure to let me know, get subscribed, and thank you so much for watching.
So clearly what I lack isn't power, it's skill.
FlexiSpot's 525 Brand Day promotion is coming soon, and starting on May 19th at 9 a.m., the first 20 customers to place an order will get it for free. There's no better time to get your C7 Max.